Welcome back once again here in Richmond, Virginia for the high school national invite here on Ultiworld. We have a open semifinal coming your way. It is the top-ranked Nathan Hale Waldorf against a team that I don't think many expected to make to the semifinals, Eastside Prep. If it's as good as the first game was, Keith, it's going to be a great championship Saturday here at the National Championships.
It's unusual to have championships on a Saturday, but that's something you get at the High School National Invite, a Friday-Saturday tournament. Also means that later today we'll get finals in the evening under the lights. I'm excited for that. You mentioned Eastside Prep potentially a surprise. Not if you talk to Eastside. I mean, this was the second-place team in Washington State's, one of the toughest tournaments you're going to come across in all of high school ultimate. The team they lost to, though, this Nathan Hale Waldorf team.
And Nathan Hale Waldorf, they've been really the top team in high school ultimate all season long. Of course, they have two Seattle Cascades on their roster. We're going to obviously go through their names quite often, but this season they merged. I don't want to say it was this season. Earlier, I think it actually happened before COVID. Nathan Hale and Waldorf, two ultimate-oriented programs up there in the Seattle area. They merged into one team. Partly was due to numbers for Waldorf, but I mean, you got two teams that Waldorf, they lost in the quarterfinals to Lone Peak in 2019, and then Nathan Hale was runner-up in 2018. So two teams that have been here before merging together and creating what some would probably maybe call a super team, but again, a numbers situation out there in the Pacific Northwest.
Well, if you're going to call it a super team, there's some superheroes on this team, and we're going to be calling a couple of names. Now, this team goes a little deeper, I think, than people think. You know, the star power of, in particular, Declan Miller, maybe sometimes feels like it overshadows some of the other contributors on this team. We're going to get a chance to recognize them. And I think we're going to be talking about a lot of the same players throughout this game, either side. Eastside Prep, though, favors their depth, though I think they're mostly going to run about 11 to 14 deep and keep those same players out a lot.
Eastside Prep had an interesting path to get here at this point. They went 2-1 in pool play. They actually lost to Lone Peak in that one, 15-8. But then they've been able to run through the pre-quarters and then won in the quarterfinals, a great contest against Wissahickon, and what was an upset for the pool-winning Wissahickon to be able to make the semifinal.
And an all-Washington final here. In the other semifinal, we've got Lone Peak and another team from Washington, Lincoln. In the girls division, we had 3 Seattle teams and 1 Oregon team. So no teams from east of the Mississippi to be found. No teams from the middle of the country even. I mean, maybe you could, whatever you want to say about Utah and Lone Peak and wherever they're located, like it is a West Coast heavy bracket here at the end of Saturday.
Eastside Prep will start on offense. Tyler Byram, Keith Rayner here with you as we are underway in the boys semi-final. Eastside Prep and Nathan Hale Waldorf. They like to go as the Seattle Whales, as what we'll probably commonly refer to them as here throughout the broadcast.
I assume that's a kind of portmanteau of Hale and Waldorf.
You picked up on that?
I did. I'm clever that way.
Liam Ryan stuck with the disc, immediately just launches it on a high stall, but he has some players in the area. If he got a little bit more float on it, he put it in a good spot.
It had players with a great look, but not able to execute a high-quality throw under the pressure of a high stall count. Not ideal offense to start for Eastside Prep. You hate to see a punt as your first possession.
And there's Declan Miller, but there is a call on the field. It might be coming back as the mark is pointing to the ground. I was wondering if he's saying
that was released at very low by Milo Friedman. So the mark may be saying that touched grass before it bounced back up.
Just here.
To my eyes, didn't look like it may have touched the ground, but I think that's what the defender's asserting.
Freshly trimmed.
Okay, does that sound right? Yeah. Okay, said for saying 5. That's why I specify, like saying, we're going to be saying 5. All right, they're set when you're ready.
Sion Rao on the mark.
Oh, poaching the upline. Eastside Prep. This will be a hold. A good start for them, able to get that stuff and a quick toss in the end zone for a goal.
So Eastside takes advantage of the stoppage, gets a great read on the play, and Jonathan Jin able to get the goal. And all it took is this one toss after that interception.
Jen, a senior, for his Eastside Prep team. Eastside, they also are a very balanced team for them. They try and go 20 deep as much as they can, have a variety of different contributors, and I watched the first half of that Wissahickon game, and they were fired up. They were ready to compete at the highest level.
I talked with Eastside head coach Adam Walter before the game, and he talked about we're obviously going up against a team with with some real star power, but I think we're the deeper team. And he said, I think our 8 through 14 can beat any team in the country. And that sort of depth is what they're hoping will carry them to success here at this tournament. It may take into the second half to see that play out. And this is a very possession-oriented team. You should expect to see a lot of zone from them on defense. They love to play zone on offense. So this is a team that's going to keep the disc in their hands. They're not going to be the most aggressive, high-flying team that you've ever seen. That's not their style of play. And if we do see that type of play from them, they're probably playing into the hands of the Whales, if Whales have hands.
Flippers?
Flippers, yes.
But this is the matchup that I want to see in particular, because this Seattle Whales offense has been outstanding in this tournament. Every time I talked to their head coach, Dominic, he was saying, we didn't have a single break that game on offense, and they were all clean. So very few and far between breaks of this Nathan Hale Waldorf O-line. But Eastside coming in a little bit of a junk look. Here's the first look. Cedar Hines straddling the line, and he is in. Quick 4-throw point, I believe, there for Hale.
Cedar Hines, a sophomore, younger brother of Ocean Hines, players prominently featured on this team. But people have been sleeping on Cedar Hines. I don't know why I haven't heard anybody talk about this kid, because I've watched him play this weekend and been very impressed. Particularly, we've seen a lot of zone defense. Cedar Hines has been a zone buster as a popper. He's just constantly getting open, keeps the disc moving, and they're showing off the wheels as he gets into the deep space, and even a little bit of that Seattle style with the tiptoe at the end.
He reminds me a little bit of a young Zach Norbaum when he was playing at Mary Washington before he became a hybrid, or entirely a handler exclusively.
I could see that path. How it happens is a lot of times you're athletic and skilled and agile, and you get the disc a lot, and so you build up the skills to become a competent handler. And you certainly could see Cedar Hines take that same path as someone who's getting the disc in his hands frequently.
So a quick hold there for the Whales. They were able to get a turnover on Eastside Prep's first point.
So the crowd picking up. It's the semifinals. How will these young players respond to this high-pressure environment? Both these teams did play in the Washington State Final, so they've seen some tough games.
They've come a long way for this contest, as the two really errant throws by Eastside Prep give a short field to Nathan Hale Waldorf. Trapped on the sideline, though. Good step out around, and even a better grab. Miller, guy ahead of him, left wide open. Alex Ben Chandler. Oh, and then a low drop. Would have been a tough catch. Dexter Schaefer-White unable to get that in. That was about his knees.
And this is the star matchup in this game. We've talked about the star power on the Whales, But Alexander Belfiore is a U20 national team player himself for this Eastside Prep team, and he's going one-on-one right now with Declan Miller.
Another low throw out of the hand of an Eastside Prep handler.
And this is a bit disconcerting for me if you're rooting for Eastside Prep. Their offense has been very efficient at this tournament. They're a team that doesn't give away the disc easily in most cases, and here they've been a bit freewheeling.
Declan Miller, I don't think that throw was to him, but just turned on the jets to get that reset. Slash across by Milo Friedman. Miller, running point, calling his shot. Too far, though, as he tried to jam it to Julian Waltson, the junior.
So a grinding multi-possession point early on in this game, just the third point of the game, and already we're seeing these teams go back and forth, although unfortunately a player going down with injury is going to stop play.
Away from the play. Again, these two teams, we didn't bring it up, but these two teams are coming off a bye, and with that, an extended bye. They had a break for the girls' semis to take place, and then not only did they get the bye, they then got the lightning delay with it as well. So they haven't played in probably close to 3 hours coming in. It's been a minute.
Challenging situation because it's not something you encounter very often. These teams are not often put in a differing environment from their traditional play setups. Now, for these high school teams, though, they do get some one-off games, so they do get a chance to prepare in isolation a little bit more than your average club team might.
Sion Rowe is the player that has helped off.
He's a key defender for this team, not somebody Eastside Prep is going to want to finish this final without.
Had a big game against Wissahickon. That one a little bit behind the cutter. Declan Miller picks up. Ooh, good grab that time by Schaefer White. Right there at the cone. Miller with the up line and the goal for Wales.
I mean, there are elite level club players. There are semi-professional players who are not going to be able to cover Declan Miller in a box like that. So it is a tough ask for young players like the players at this tournament. And ultimately just inefficient possessions from both sides, but particularly for an Eastside team that I think prides itself on its ability to execute, not an ideal point for them.
Lots of turnovers, lots of short turnovers. Weren't gaining many yards, put the Seattle Whales in a very advantageous situation. I don't believe they even got past midfield on that point. They had multiple attempts.
Now, on the bright side, if you're this deeper Eastside Prep team, you like that you're getting in these long, grindy points. You've got someone like Declan Miller on the field. You could try and wear him down, get him playing through lots and lots of reps while you dig deeper into your depth and keep bringing lots of other players into the game. But
and it's a good point because they haven't had many long games in this tournament. Their scores, Nathan Hale Waldorf 15-6, 15-11 in a game that it was able, if it was a betting game, it would have been a backdoor cover in that one, 15-7. And then in the quarterfinals, they beat Lexington 15-9. So they've been able to win comfortably. And they've talked about how making this trek to Virginia in these conditions, that he was a little worried on how their whole roster would be able to maintain a high level of performance. And it hasn't been tested yet, as compared to other teams have been tested.
A beautiful, but also totally out of bounds pull by Ocean Hines. Spin pull towering, went over the top of our production booth, which is, what, 2 stories off the ground, the story off the ground. Still went over the top, but well out of bounds.
I would say probably even a little higher than that. Looking at 25, maybe 30 feet.
Eastside Prep back to work. Belfiore and Max Olsen, these are the two players I think who they trust the most with the disc, who get the most touches for them. And a bit of a lane poach off these handlers by Hale.
They haven't even gotten a throw off to a cutter as they finally do. I think this is a forced middle situation here. And just as I say that, they get one down the
This
line.
is a jump ball.
Oh, what a play. Eastside Prep able to get a big hold. This is now 2-2.
Olsen sending this one, asking for a sky, and that is delivered.
What a catch. Good contest. 23 was just out of position. A little bit of hand fighting, not that much, even on both sides. But man, what a sky.
And who would have thought the first big athletic highlight would be Eastside Prep rather than the Whales?
And they had a lot of those in the quarterfinals.
Nice play from Philip Isev, 16-year-old, showing off the springs. Yeah, call it a jump ball. Operative word be jump. I wonder how he did on the greatest sky trainer that's been here. You know, one of those contraptions with the disc suspended in the air to show how high you could sky for one. I'm thinking Ives probably did pretty well.
Now that there's been some buys and some stoppages, it's been a very popular station today. So 2-2. Nathan Hale Waldorf up a break.
Olsen says, I can also throw a beautiful pull out of bounds. That one a bit closer. So now we see Tucker Kalmus, who's the third of the U.S. national team under 20 players in this game, along with Miller and Belfiore.
So here's a zone here by Eastside Prep. Really clamping down on the handlers. Inverted cup, in a way.
Some disagreement about a double team call, I believe.
Did they play through? Oh, and a good run through block. Eastside Prep, opportunity to get the break back.
Belfiore just jumping the lane on that one, knocks it down, and this is the best break opportunity we've seen thus far.
Dish reset, swing over. Eastside Prep has gotten the break back.
Impressive work from Eastside. Belfiore, cool as a cucumber. He throws the backwards pass that sets up the assist.
Big point, especially to get that one back. This is a Seattle Whales team that can really grind you into the ground. You don't get many opportunities.
And I don't think they're used to playing from behind. You know, if you can jump out a bit, you might be able to make them feel a bit uncomfortable. So if I'm Eastside Prep, I would not be afraid to really commit to trying to get a lead here, even if it might feel like it's going to be to our detriment later in the game. Putting Nathan Hale behind the 8-ball might put them in a position that they're just too unfamiliar with to know how to handle.
Observers talking to two Eastside Prep players, preventing us from getting started on this next point.
Because the double team itself doesn't stop play, right?
It just says max foul by 2?
Yes.
Okay,
yeah.
but
so you can choose to contest it and that stops play, and then I can come in, you can measure it out, whatever.
one of the things, 22, he likes to like step through into me a lot and then call contact on me. What do I do about that?
You can contest a contact call. It's the same thing. If he does release it, it's just like a foul on the throw. If he doesn't, you're the one that stops play by. Well, that's what I mean. Like, it's the same as any offensive foul. Like, you're the. It's just weird that you become the one that either call the foul or call the contest.
So, questions about the double team that you alluded to there earlier, Keith. These teams playing with observers for some players. This may be the first time they've ever played an observed game before. So maybe opportunity to get all your questions out now while you can.
Little Q&A session before the poll.
What a leap there by Cedar Hines. They just keep resetting to Tucker Kalmus. Lando Impus, and then, knocked down.
But you can see how the popping motion works for Hale. I mean, these poppers can get through and just get the disc moving so quickly.
Just the acceleration of those poppers is insane, especially for this level. Eastside Prep looking to go up a break and getting hit on the run by Axel Olsen, the sophomore. Got bumped in the upper body by Cedar Hines.
Always a tricky situation when a player's stepping to wind up into that backhand and players are trying to come from around. It's kind of hard to know that the player's going to do that. So it's hard for me to fault the defense, but people just got to try and be aware of each other's bodies.
Olsen putting it in the end zone, backtracking and making the catch. Eastside Prep gets the break.
Well, Isev strikes again, and while this was far less spectacular than his previous scoring effort, they're worth the same amount of points. And a nice throw, really. Obviously, Olsen, the one who gets the credit on that. So we talked about Cedar Hines, the sophomore, who's playing quite well for the Whales, but how about Max Olsen? That might be a name you want to jot down for the future.
Axel Olsen, the sophomore, only 16 years of age. He's been a key part of this team, and again, going to the depth, but they've had several players that have been able to step up throughout this tournament, but playing a key role as a handler on the D-line and been able to grind out a couple of break trains with this team.
We've seen a lot of young handlers at this tournament who have really stood out. It's probably speaks to the development of Ultimate for these players at a younger age, the talent level that we're seeing emerge as we take a look at the bracket. And those types of players are on these rosters that we've seen move deep into the bracket. And even all the way down the line, even if you go to consolation, you'll find some real young players who've been showing out. But these teams that moved deep into the bracket are happy with where they are based on their performance.
An exciting bracket play so far. That game there at the bottom. Lincoln able to win a close one there to be able to advance to the semis.
Lincoln has played plenty of close games over the past 2 days. A bit of the heart attack kids.
They're too young for that, though.
I know, they're going to give me one.
They don't have the cholesterol built up yet. Hines, Cedar, that is. Big wind up. Resets to Miller, gets it right back. There's his brother, Ocean. Quick up, trying to jump in. Just short, Kalmus. To Ocean Hines. Cleanest point we've seen for Wales.
And in the boys division, I haven't seen any team that can do that with the level of consistency that we see from Wales. Those flowing offensive points where the disc is just in and out of everybody's hands. This is where the Wales feel at home. And you can see how difficult it is for any defense to try and contain.
Hines very active around the disc.
The Hineses, lots of Hineses. They're an impactful pairing, Ocean and Cedar.
One thing to watch, though, for Ocean is his pulls.
Yeah, I mean, I wasn't talking about his out-of-bounds pull to make fun of him. I was admiring the arc. pullers who have that kind of throw are going to be able to dial it in. So we've seen some pretty good pullers in this game, I think. I think that may play out as we go through this one. I'm a little worried about this upline heavy attack that the Whales are employing, and you're seeing a lot of poaches coming from upfield from Eastside Prep. Kind of a dangerous situation. We've seen a lot of dangerous situations develop when you have a player moving away from the disc, looking back at the disc, running full speed, and a player coming from downfield to try and break that play up. So hopefully players can navigate that carefully and safely. But also, we've also seen Eastside Prep use that to generate turnovers. So if you're the Whales, you got to make sure you're not throwing directly into a poach.
All right, Ocean, time to make me look good. Gets the arc right on this one. Right into the middle of the end zone. Eastside Prep with no confidence to try and catch it. And the defense gets set up. Callahan opportunity here.
Nice to see Rao back on the field. He's played a couple points since going off with injury, but seems okay. There's a player deep behind Declan Miller, the deep in this Wales zone, and it's tempting Belfiore. I mean, you could see Belfiore eyeing it up, trying to calibrate, can I get this past Miller? And Miller's sort of testing him, saying, do you want to find out? You want to find out if I've got the stuff?
There, for those that are just joining us and missed the girls' semifinal, there is a little bit, just a little bit of an upwind, downwind breeze here coming from the right, so in the face of Eastside Prep right now. As Miller now gets split.
Belfiore running out of time and options. Thought he might try and pick one of the aggressive looks, and he does choose a somewhat aggressive look only for 10 yards or so with a scuba. Now a foul call on the catch.
Gavin Levy leaving his feet. That was a great block. He's saying his hand got hit. We might need a slower replay.
All right, 1 second.
So right now, the observers are having a moment to themselves, making sure they're both on the same play, comparing mental notes of what happened on both sides. Here's a look again.
I mean, that looks pretty clean to me. The play itself looks pretty clean. I'm not sure that I see the contact that the Eastside player is alleging.
So we're going to treat this as a contest and send it back. Okay? No.
Siddharth Gali calling the foul on his hand.
Now, I do think there may have been an argument that you could say that the defensive player could not have made that play without making contact with me after getting the block. Like, there was no way for the defender to both leave his feet and get the disc and not run into me. But that doesn't seem to be the argument that's being presented.
Yeah, I don't think the observers had a good angle on it, so they're just saying it's going to be a contested play, as that one's was a high stall, and two players are saying it was, and they're going to put the disc all away.
Yeah, Belfiore, don't forget, was coming in with basically no time left on the shot clock and tries to hoist up a blade, and even that he couldn't get off in time.
Into the wind with that. Milo Friedman now to pick up. And Declan Miller, I believe he's going to call a foul.
He and Liam Ryan bumping a little bit as Ryan trying to be physical to make sure that Miller's not able to accelerate past him.
Right. So you're going to have to ask him, is he ready?
Seems like both players are okay with it, and they're just trying to find that line that's the appropriate level of physicality for the game.
And also, too, it's early in the game. Sometimes you have to figure out what type of physicality your matchup is comfortable with and is okay with. As Hines is just short, looking for help. A lot of bodies clamping in for Eastside Prep, looking for a big swing. Julian Waltson inside to Ocean Hines. Hines looked reset, but kept his face downfield the entire time. The Seattle Whales get a break back, and it's 4-4.
A nice job to get that disc out of that sideline position where they had all these players crowding the front cone. And with that extra field space, able to take advantage.
Great recognition to be able to get it away from the cone as well.
Hines almost with a very impressive jump in on that offhand backhand that Declan Miller threw earlier. Hines tried to leap that one in, and there were defenders around. That would have been a pretty impressive play on his part, but came up just short.
So we have a timeout on the field. Again, this is one of two semifinal contests on the open side, open division. Lone Peak and Lincoln is the other game going on. Again, Jordan and Lincoln. That game was on the showcase field. It was filmed, so if you need a case to get an UltiWorld subscription, there's a lot of attention being played on that Lone Peak Lincoln game. But again, if you need a reason for an UltiWorld subscription, it would be to watch the Jordan-Lincoln game. That was an outstanding contest between the two teams, especially down the wire. Several full extension layouts by both teams, and Lincoln able to come out victorious there and get the upset over Jordan.
It's 50.
So 4-4, Eastside Prep had back-to-back breaks to get ahead by a break in the point total. Now the Whales have gotten it back, and we are on serve. 4-4.
These two teams are familiar with each other. This Wales team beat Eastside Prep pretty comfortably, 5 or 6 goals in the Washington State final. But the teams also scrimmaged outside of that. And Eastside Prep, you know, their coach said that going into that state final, he felt like they had a view of Nathan Hale as kind of being these juggernauts. And after they played this scrimmage, where Eastside Prep won, Eastside started to feel like, hey, we can beat these guys. You know, we are in their league. And so taking away that intimidation factor, maybe giving Eastside a chance to take this game where I'd say ostensibly they're the underdogs.
Lone Peak on top of Lincoln now 7-3. So they are almost at halftime in that semifinal. Still a ways to go here as it is 4-4 after the timeout. Eastside Prep as the pull goes out of bounds. Again, that one going against the wind there for Ocean Hines.
Miller again on the mark against Belfiore in this kind of junk set. Belfiore over the top.
Olsen. He had that good look earlier in this half. Just threads that needle. Oh, and the reset back to Olsen. Unable to be completed. Another break potentially here for the Whales. Leahy gets it just before it goes out of bounds.
Just a vertical stack right now. So the throw goes towards the end zone.
Just short. Toss into Miller, floats a little bit. Defender went away from Declan Miller. Plenty of time to bring it down. Declan Miller, again, plays with the Cascades. He's going to Carleton next year.
Yeah, I think Carleton will probably benefit from Declan Miller's presence. I mean, he could be the best player on the team from day one. That's how good this kid is.
And Belfiore just letting that one go. He knew he got beat. float just a tad on the throw. But man, back-to-back three-point swings. One there for Eastside Prep, and then Nathan Hale right back doing it against him.
Well, we talked about Eastside Prep feeling more confident after they beat Wales in a scrimmage, but this is where that confidence gets tested. You know, the team just went on a 3-goal run against you. They put you in a hole now in the final. You looked like you might be out to a good advantage, but it's been erased. And this is when you find out what Eastside Prep's made of. If you believe, if you're bought in, then this isn't stressing you out. But if you have doubts, if you're not sure about yourself, about your teammates, about your team, it's going to show up in how you play right now.
And that's not just the team mentality. Perhaps individuals on the team when it comes down to individual matchups. This is a 7-player game, and you could even extend it further than that, but in the terms of a point, it's a 7-player game, and if there's one player that has doubts, all it takes is one person to get beat deep, or one person to be on the wrong side of the mark, or to shuffle over early to completely let that become a factor.
Years ago, there was a coach I talked to, and he talked about teaching his players to make themselves a yes. And what that means is, if somebody asks you, do you want this player on the line with you, with the season on the line, how many players on your team are a yes to that question? And get as many of those yeses as you can. You want to be able to turn to the left and to the right on the line with the game on the line, the season on the line, and feel like these are the people I want next to me.
5-4.
Ocean Hines getting ready for another one of those spinning backhand pulls.
This is just so fun for me to watch. I could just sit and watch Ocean Hines do pulls all day. That is unreal. He's 19 years old. A little bit too much juice on it that time.
I think there's players trying to figure out if that landed inbounds and bounced out the back, or if it landed out the back.
Oh.
10 seconds.
Okay.
I think it rolled out the back. It landed in, rolled out the back, and so they get to take it to the front of the end zone. That's a pretty good pull.
Very good pull.
Nice penetrating throw by Olsen. Using that sharp forehand. There is no player on offense on the wide side of the field, and that lets this defense clamp down for the pickoff, and they run it into the end zone. Quick transition score as the Whales seize the advantage.
I mean, it's with person up, when you have the zone or a forced middle defense there, you get that pick-six situation all the time. Just so many attacking players and not enough defenders, as that was the case. Just able to easily just walk it down for the last 5 yards. Multiple throws getting off, waiting for the defenders to walk off the man to cover the more advantageous attacker. Kalmus will go down as the goal, but that was a team block right there.
Kalmus has been struggling a little bit with ankle injuries, and we've seen him try to take care of his body, but looks like he's feeling spry right now. He jumps that scored in. The Whales coached by Dominic Cavallero and Manny Eckert, players who've played with Seattle Mixtape and had pretty successful careers. Have also spent some time in the AUDL. But I was talking to Eckert before the game about how strong of a handler group this Eastside Prep team said, and he showed no concern. He said, you know what, we have great handler defenders. And he feels like that's one of the strengths of this team, and I think it was on display on that possession.
And with the defense they're employing, it's not just good athletically and being able to read the thrower, but also read how your teammates are going to rotate based off your positioning on the mark. It's not just a straight up mark, they're reading off of each other, jumping lanes, going back to their person. And they've done great so far right now. 3 breaks in a row here for the Whales.
It's now more of a matchup look. We've seen the Whales try this sort of thing and add a few poaches in. Deep look, but well beyond the reach of the receiver. Vivek Shah trying to send his man to the end zone, but sends that one to the ground.
I think that was one he might have even tried to throw him open. He saw the look. The wind may have been a little bit of a factor there on the float he was trying to put on the disc. Another break potentially coming up. Sato Hausenberg.
And that's the type of turnover I think that you kind of have to accept when you're playing the fast-paced game that they play, is they get it right back from Eastside Prep. Sometimes you're just going to have those errors where you're going so quick that you don't calibrate it right.
Good under by Ocean Hines. Goes back to the break side. Cedar Hines pumps off his man. Declan Miller. Streaking across the front of the stack, Julian Walton. Waltz is in for the score.
Waltz and Wales right now. The Wales asserting themselves offensively with excellent offensive play. Great job by Ocean Hines. Flashes open at just the right time for that undercut and then sends it to the break side. And that kind of starts this whole thing off. It's the first domino really to fall on this offensive possession as the Whales work the width of the field. Eastside Prep could never catch up.
A 5-0 run here for Nathan Hale, Waldorf. Just good flow, good movement. They look like that they have been players that have been playing together for years.
Walston getting the goal on the assist from Cedar.
Now, how do the Eagles of Eastside Prep respond? We talked about in the girls' semifinal being able to counter, being able to respond well when teams are able to get breaks. You've let up 4 breaks in a row. First, you got to get that hold, but how do you respond after that, and how do you not let this? This is a point for half at this point. You got to try and extend it as much as you can.
This point is everything but a must-have. I mean, this is all but prerequisite to winning this game. Players taking advantage of the player dinner here at the high school national invite, and some personal pizzas.
Where's our pizza?
Surely there's one saved for you and for I. And if not, I'll share with you.
But it's a personal pizza. It's not a, what would you, a duo pizza?
You can have my whole pizza. I'd do it for you. It's that sort of team play that I think Eastside's going to need to get back into it, and throwing jump balls to Declan Miller, probably not the recipe.
Miller was 20 yards away from the downfield attacker and just turned on the jets.
I mean, we talked about earlier when he was the deep. He was asking, do you want to test my range? And Eastside Prep decided to find out, and Declan was happy with the results.
Kalmus, give and go, no. Sliding under the body of Amar Lang.
Just a bit of a misread from Lang. Another situation, we talked about this in the last game, but turned on that inside shoulder, and that gave away too much speed for him to catch up to the disc. Just turn over that outside shoulder, you can probably keep a little bit of that momentum going in the right direction. But difficult if you don't quickly assess the flight path of the disc.
Eastside Prep just gaining nickel and diming themselves up the field.
I mean, when I've seen this Eastside Prep team play well, this is what they do. This is where they seem the most at home. Is we'll take 50 throws, 60 throws. We'll take all the little stuff if you let us.
Axel Olsen trying to pick his shot, sliding in. What a put there by Olsen.
Okay, I guess Axel Olsen will take the big stuff if you let him too. I mean, that is a dime from Axel.
Sliding in hard to make the catch, Jack Edwards, the sophomore. Those two, it may be a long stay at Eastside Prep with them two as they extend the half, at least momentarily, and end the 5-0 run.
And like we said, that goal is critical. I mean, the difference between being down a half, 8-4, and down a half, 8-5 just feels huge. And they have a chance to make that lead even smaller.
Crowd gathering here as several teams' days are winding to a close. We'll have updated standings, final results as they come in. A lot of ultimate played the past 2 days. We have St. Louis Park right in front of us enjoying this semifinal. They had a great tournament. Really impressed in pool play and lost in a heartbreaker in the pre-quarters.
A lot of ultimate watched. I mean, we've had many rounds thus far, and we still got another 2 to go after this. And the best ones yet.
I would also say a lot of good Pacific Northwest teams as well, as can be expected in Youth Ultimate.
I'm sure a lot of pride in that. I think the region really takes pride in the culture that they have cultivated in the Pacific Northwest and the talent that it's generated.
Oh, and looking to throw before he caught the disc, Hansen just lets that one dribble away. But it also shows of, if you list the top teams that are competitive at club nationals every year on the men's and women's and mixed sides, typically it's Seattle. As Eastside Prep able to get a break.
He's got ISIV in his veins. The kid catches another one, and the casual celebration, places the disc down, makes the goal signal with the observer, keeps his cool.
They've been watching too much College Ultimate.
Hey, at least you didn't do any head taps. You see the cowbell working overtime. Eastside Prep's trying to power up a comeback.
7-6.
I mean, it looked like they were in trouble. I really felt like, they might have given up that break, gone down 8-4, and we might have been talking about this game being over early. Instead, it's 7-6. Eastside's on a run, and they're showing some fight.
And so much credit to these players at this age, being able to have that fight and have that spirit, because it's so easy to mail it in. You've already had a great tournament thus far, performing above what many outsiders considered the expectations of this team. And you're here, you're fighting, now you're back in it, and you're 2 points away from taking half.
Oh, to be young again, Tyler, as of yet unjaded by the trials and tribulations of life and the sting of failure. The hope springs eternal for these optimistic kids.
Axel Olsen's pull, this time showing it off. It just kind of hit a wall there right when it got past what would have been the brick mark.
Great coverage, though. High throw gets over the head of Ocean Hines, and now another chance for Eastside.
Olsen weaves it ahead to Cyrus Platt, and then timeout called by Olsen. I like that movement. I like, let's see what we can get going, and then kind of got stalled a little bit. Like, you know what? We have a timeout. Let's use it. Really get this point. Gonna have to double check at halftime. I hope this is in a situation where we have the numbers wrong, because Olsen is not playing like a sophomore here today.
No, I can speak confidently that he was a player highlighted by the coaching staff prior to the game. This is one of our key guys. He is carried a big load for us despite his young age, and you can see on the field how much of that usage he's willing to take on.
So 7-6, break chance for Eastside Prep. The Whales scored 5 points in a row. And Eastside swinging back, making it 2 in a row. And this isn't a situation of the offense got cold. Most of these guys were playing almost every single D point to this point.
Yeah, and you wonder if Eastside having to play an extra game could come into play.
Vertical stack here by Eastside, and looks like a bracket is set up defensively.
Same stall. Hold on, one more movement. All right, when you're both ready.
Violation as someone moved first. Oh, Olsen faked out the defender, but macked off the hand, skying in. An outstanding grab by Amar Lang, but there is a foul called.
I'm always skeptical of these foul calls and a pile up on a jump ball like this.
It's tough.
It's not that there are no rules, but it's hard for players to know exactly what happened in that situation. And you don't want to bail out a throw that really was the cause of the issues at hand.
My positioning, I jumped up for it and I was pulled over and pushed out.
You weren't right here. Like this, I just said everyone is going to be contact.
He does have position.
People going with the disc who has position?
How?
I don't think he has position.
Observers stepping aside to have their own conversation about it. I mean, there's some merit to what they're saying, but again, like, whenever there's contact in a sport that there's not supposed to be contact, I don't think that's the best argument you can make if you're, it was one of a Wales players making it there. And yes, there was contact, but I mean, there was a lot of momentum.
We're going to make the disc live, and then everyone can move and we can walk to the front. All right? Yeah, so once live, not yet, and then you can start walking, and then again on the goal line, and you can throw it. Okay?
So, no foul here on the play by the observers.
Live!
As disc is live, Nathan Hale Waldorf a chance to take half.
Great opportunities for Eastside Prep. Can they generate another one? They have the momentum in their corner right now.
Oh. So a little bit ahead of Colmus. Short field once again for Eastside Prep. Olsen immediately picks up. And did he get it off the ground? I think Miller's calling him down. The observer immediately knew that there was going to be a discussion. Already was walking in on the play.
Yes.
Is it a catch if the ground helps in the catch of the disc?
That was a little closer than I thought. At first blush, I thought it was a catch
you have
for
to have
Liam Ryan.
Control of a non-spinning disc before it touches the disc at all. Ben, do you want to? Ben, really quickly. I don't think we want to let this go on any longer. It looked 100% like a catch to me.
So right now.
All right, cool. We're either going to come to us or send it back right now. All right, observer ruling is it was up.
Observers calling it up there in the end zone. Another break for Eastside Prep.
I'm not quite sure still. Ryan arguing that the disc was on top of his arm. And while for a moment that was true, it does look like the disc might have been touching the ground, and it's unclear to me that he had control of it at that moment. But tough to say, extremely tough for anybody watching this in live play to know.
And I think the key is, especially from an observer's standpoint, if you see where they are in the position on the field, the hand that comes up with the disc is the one on the left, not the one that was trying to cradle the disc. It's the other one, which may have obstructed the viewpoint of an observer.
So here's where the disc is now on the ground. Does he have control of it in that moment?
And I don't blame Miller from thinking that that's a turn at all.
It's at least a question worth asking.
That is a tough call to make.
I mean, I'm watching it repeatedly in slow-mo, and I'm still not certain.
I think I would go with my gut, as there was at least a moment of time in the exchange where there wasn't.
I'm inclined to agree. I think by virtue of what we're seeing here, it is down, but I can't fault anybody for seeing something different in live play there.
How many times did we watch it in replay? And then how many times did they get to see it live? So,
I mean, if I'm the Whales, I'm not worried about that play, because that's something that, you know, it's whatever, it's call. Can't do anything about it. I'm worried about the turnovers that preceded it.
7-7, once again, Galaxy point.
Hey, we said that the point at 7-4 would be defining. It would be either Eastside's going to have a shot at this or they're not. Well, they got the goal, and they have taken full advantage of the opportunity. And they're on a 3-0 run. They've turned it a 4-0 and take the half?
If Eastside Prep scores, they will be back on serve after allowing a 5-0 run. How many times could you say that you allowed your opponent to go up 5-0 and have a chance for it to be back on serve coming out of the half? Miller down to one knee, calling a foul. So I think this is a good discussion point too for people watching. Contact versus foul. Miller got off balance there, so wise for him to call a foul to be able to reset his position instead of the contact, which I think a lot of coaches say a lot of times, call the contact and let play continue on.
And now this is where Hale wants to be, with that high-speed movement, getting velocity going downfield. So good job of recovering by Eastside, slowing it back down, and now you can see things starting to stagnate a little bit.
And I mean, this zone has done a great job of really compacting Seattle Whales, really shortening the field. They aren't trying to spread it out, which is giving an advantage to the team that's on defense in a zone. Miller back to his Cascades teammate, Tucker Kalmus. And now the Whales having to retreat a tiny bit. Finally, they get it through. Cedar Hines, the popper, they got the cut to his brother Ocean Hines. Across the middle for the score. The Seattle Whales take the first half, 8-7.
Oh, they do, but by the narrowest of margins after taking a big 7-4 lead. A bit of a sigh of relief for Wales fans, and even it seems like for some of the Wales players. But a nice possession, 0-1 hold. Go out there and take care of business, keep the disc moving. A couple of small windows, but I think they're willing to play in those small windows. That's something the Wales are going to be comfortable with. And they fit it through the small window to get the goal.
Yeah, Ocean Hines completely took the momentum that the defense was running and then went across from it. Nathan Hale Waldorf on top at the half over Eastside Prep.
There is a place where we are us at our best.
A place where everyone is welcome.
Regardless of age, shape, skin color, or anything else that tries to box people in.
A place where we defy the odds, defy the naysayers.
And even defy gravity.
A place where it's accepted that success
doesn't belong to the faint-hearted. It belongs to the brave, to the determined.
A place that knows grit, knows grace, knows bright lights, and knows empty bleachers.
A place where we remember to laugh.
Where we learn to trust.
Learn to high-five strangers.
And eventually, even learn to fly.
A place where character, community, and competition
are all as balanced as a disc in flight.
That place isn't in a stadium or on a field.
That place is in the spirit of our players.
Because we don't just play ultimate, we live ultimate.
It's caught by A.J. Larson.
Just a massive layout catch there by Kucharski.
Davis looking for Gordon deep. A couple of defenders giving chase.
And that's a beautiful shot from Swiatek. And then they continue to the end zone.
And a great catch by Rondisvet. Down, popping up in the air. Rondisvet goes up over everybody.
Soars through the air for that catch.
And there is a Callahan.
Hand block and got right back.
Now looking at downfield for Larson. He lays out and makes an incredible catch. Seymour going for the big gainer, looking for it all. And Rondisvet lays out Medina. They're going to the mud.
Pacheco with room and puts it up for Gadu. This is the kind of shot Roosevelt wants. And now the deep shot for Gadu. And she brings it in. It will be this year's 2019 High School National Invite champions.
Davis looking for Gordon right away. Rondisvet in the area. Rondisvet goes up. Gordon gets it though. Berkeley win the High School National Invite.
The last 50 years have seen a lot of positive change
around a whole range of important issues.
And some things remain reassuringly unchanged.
Like the spirit of our game.
Ultimate is 50 years young.
And still a perfect circle
of fair play,
athletic pursuit,
and camaraderie.
In fact, Ultimate was a social network.
Before social networks even existed.
Respetamos nuestras diferencias.
And understand the value that they add.
The revolution of the disc in flight continues to prove
that there's nothing we can't achieve when we pull together.
Long live Ultimate.
Larga vida Ultime.
Long live Ultimate.
Welcome back to the High School National Invite Semifinals Open Division here. Nathan Hale, Waldorf, Eastside Prep with a spot to the final on the line. Let's see how we got here. Open side, very fun. A lot of fun contests in the pre-quarters and the quarters.
Absolutely. I mean, if you didn't hear about St. Louis Park and South Eugene, that was a slugfest in that pre-quarter round. Eastside getting here through Edina and then Wissahickon in a really great match, probably the best match in that quarterfinal round. Hale actually got pushed a little bit more by Lexington than I would have expected, but they got a test from a Lexington team that came ready to play, even though they had to play a pretty tough pre-quarter matchup. So that has gotten us to this point. Hale, Prep, and then on the other side, Lone Peak and Lincoln. Lincoln, I mean, that Lincoln-Jordan game, you got to see that one. I'm pretty sure we got that one on film, and if you're a subscriber, you got to check that one out. And if you're not, and you like intense Ultimate with some big plays at the end of the game, ultraworld.com/subscribe. Find out how you can get your access.
It would justify a subscription. At the very least, justify a 1-month subscription just so you can see the game. But you'll be convinced for longer subscriptions after that. Right now, Lone Peak on top of Lincoln, 10-5. So it looks like we're nearing Lone Peak punching their ticket to the championship. That game is actually also being streamed, but it is streamed via Facebook. Lone Peak going to have to find their team on socials to be able to get. I believe Ultiworld Live Twitter account has tweeted out the link at some point.
Lone Peak really on the cutting edge of just like team-based streaming. I mean, their setup is pretty cool. So I appreciate that. They have folks who are so bought in that they're willing to take the time to help put that together. They have been really strong at this tournament. They've had some moments where they didn't play their best, which is to be expected from a group of high school players. But really, they've been one of the strongest teams. When they're playing well, they've been close to untouchable.
Their closest game was to Eastside Prep of this tournament back in Pool C, and 5-8 or 15-8 was the final score of that contest.
They're big, they're athletic, and they're well organized. I mean, this is a team that's coached well and has a lot of buy-in, and it's very evident from watching them play.
So back to this game. That was quite the exciting first half we had. A lot of breaks on both sides. Eastside Prep, they got the first two of the game, and then the big swing by Nathan Hale, Waldorf, able to get in firm control. We were talking about how like this could be the coronation moment here of the semifinals for them to just push in, but then Eastside Prep, great response. Players stepping up in key moments, coming back to make it an 8-7 game at the half.
Since the opening hold by Eastside Prep, we haven't had a single hold that wasn't followed by at least one, if not multiple breaks. So this has been a game of runs, of pendulum swings, and whichever team can kind of steady themselves and hang on, then they might be able to take a insurmountable lead.
And the Whales will receive up a point. Misread on the pull by Dexter Schaefer-White, and he didn't want anything to do with it after he initially looked like he was going to pick it up. But what initiation. Tucker Kalmus looking for his teammate Orlando Impas. Too far on that deep shot.
Declan Miller flooding to the opposite side of the field. I think the look was designed to get him the disc, but Kalmus looks the other way, and Miller goes to the point without a touch. I don't know if we've seen him go through a full offensive possession without getting a piece of the disc at all.
So now, Eastside Prep.
Speaking of getting touches, Axel is back.
Axel Olsen feeling himself right now. Has had a great first half.
Well, it's Impus right now charged with trying to contain Olsen.
Good find. He is just carving up this zone.
Now here's a test of these handler defenders.
Vivek Shah to Olsen. Now they're back in person on person. A little bit of a hesitation by Eastside Prep to recognize. High stall, Axel Olsen, he has his man, but they're going to call it at the disc. Impasse
Stay here for a second,
on the mark.
Are we claiming that it was involved in this play?
Initially, I didn't think there was initially, but
if you're the defense in that situation, I respect that you're trying to help play come to a stop, but I don't know if you just stop playing just because there's a pick call. You echo the pick call,
right,
but
so the claim is,
if you get a block there, it's probably going to stand.
All right. So any contesting to that, or?
I don't think that's true.
All right. I just want to make clear with regard to the rules. The fact that someone stops playing because a call is made isn't considered to have affected the play. So the question is whether or not that contact has affected your continued play. That's just the nature of the continuation rule, right? There's explicitly written in the rules, the fact that somebody stops play does not mean that it affected continued play.
I think so.
All right. Okay, so that is what the claim is. It doesn't sound like it's being withdrawn. Are we happy treating this as a contested pick? All right. In that case, we're sending it back. Okay, we're sending it back in we're sending it back. Let's reset to where we were at the time of the pick.
So again, a lot of explanation of the rules and how the game flow works when these calls are made. But it was a pick, and it will go back to Axel Olsen. Again, a high stall. Easy to get the quick reset, though.
And understandable to get a lot of explanation when you're dealing with young, inexperienced players who probably haven't played much with observers. I actually think the instructional element that we're seeing at play is well warranted.
Olsen down the line has his man. A break for Eastside Prep.
And Eastside Prep's run somewhat continues, interrupted by a single goal, but otherwise they've scored 4 of the last 5.
And Axel Olsen, no less than 3 assists today for him.
Tyler, the thing, this is my 3rd high school national invite, but I guess 3rd in 5 years. The players are the thing that I walk away remembering. There's some great plays, some great games, but as someone who pays attention to college, club, and semi-pro ultimate for a living, the thing that I walk away with are remembering these players and seeing their talent on display and their strength of character. And I promise you I'm going to remember Axel Olsen. I mean, as someone who's been a handler, I mean, this is my kind of player.
He has been making that zone by the Whales look like nothing on the field. Just carving them up, hitting the spots, getting the resets in the right position, moving the cups. Olsen has had a great game, in particular, very solid tournament, but I think he is fully showing out in this game. 8-8. The Whales still up by 1 in terms of breaks. But that was a break out of the half.
And I'm really, we have said the praises of Ocean Hines' pulls, and I think they're probably the best we've seen, but I'm really enjoying the duel between he and
reset hammer, Waldsen to Miller. Cedar Hines. Waldsen and Kalmus. As Kalmus unleashes. Ocean Hines was streaking on the opposite sideline. Makes the run and catches the goal, and some little extracurricular activities after the play.
Hines, the only question really there was going to be, is he going to run out of room? And his ability to elevate early helped make sure that that was not the case. But I think Hines taking exception to the fact that the player ran into him after the play. I'm not sure why extra contact may have been necessary after the fact, but it seemed like the player was apologetic. But Hines taking exception.
Yeah, I think it looked like a situation, the guy coming in and tried to play it off of, I'm trying to catch myself before I run into you, when they could have taken a path elsewhere. And then Hines just a light push back, but didn't look anything intentional on either side. Just some I don't want to say playful banter, but banter and gamesmanship between the two.
Yeah, no surprise to see the coaches stepping in to talk to the players and saying, hey, let's dial it back a little bit.
Yeah, is it necessary? Is it helping anybody in the situation?
Now that said, this is like we said, two teams that have seen each other. I mean, these are teams that battled the state final not too long ago. They have a level of familiarity, and you could argue there's a little bit of rivalry going on, and this game has been pretty intense. And you can tell that both teams are in it to win it.
Nathan Hale, Waldorf, the two teams coming together for the past couple of years. The two programs have had quite the success at the High School National Invite, and now they are looking to advance to what would be their second finals appearance, when Nathan Hale made it back in 2018. Eastside Prep, though, pushed back.
Belfiore cannot believe that he let that one slip away, just looking upfield before he secured the disc. And a excellent short field opportunity for the Whales. And it goes unwasted.
Cedar Hines racks up another. I think the team will be in very good hands when Ocean Hines graduates this year with his brother taking over the veteran leadership and enthusiasm that he brings to the field.
Yeah, Cedar Hines been very impressive. Miller helping enable that as well, but I mean, it's the error, an unforced error from Eastside. And that's the kind of thing that I mentioned is not really in their wheelhouse. I mean, that is not when they're playing at their best. This is not a team that is going to thrive in an environment where there's a lot of turnovers. They want to play a slower game, although we've seen Axel Olsen open up the field a little bit. Now 10-8 with the clock counting down. Yeah, I think you're going to start to see the pressure ratchet up.
Yeah, I think now's the time for some of those top players. A lot of the names that we've already talked about take that additional step forward in intensity and realize that the game is on the line at this point.
And I was corrected that I said there were 3 U20 team players in this game. It's actually 4. Ocean Hines also joining Tucker Kalmus, Declan Miller, and Alexander Belfiore on the under-20 U.S. national boys team. That'll be playing in Wrocław, Poland.
Eastside Prep looking for a hold.
Another one of the players on that team play behind us now, Everett Saunders of Lone Peak.
I don't know what the call is here. So somebody has called pick.
21 called the pick.
21 called, okay. Okay, you're calling a pick. But you yourself didn't get picked. All right, so you really should only be calling the pick if you yourself have been picked in that case. All right, so am I hearing that you're wanting to withdraw this pick call now? You're calling a pick. Okay, we do have a pick call here. All right, and are you caught up now? Are you happy with this?
Yeah.
We're happy with where we are. All right, we are set now, right? So we're coming in on stalling 1. You're going to ask him if you're ready, and he's going to check it in.
Milo Friedman getting picked as Eastside was trying to work it up the sideline.
Now stuck on that sideline.
Miller clamping down, still able to get open Belfiore.
And not a lot of space around the disc for Eastside. And I think that's because they're so handler driven. They really want to get the disc back into the hands of their throwers.
Looking for help.
And an interesting set run mid-play by the Whales, bringing a poaching defender into the reset space.
And Olsen able to find his man back corner over the defense. The blade on in. It is 10-9.
And after going through a couple of different potential players and who this would be, we believe we finally identified that this is Cyrus Clapp. And again, you see this poach come over from the off handler, coming into the reset space, hoping to jump on an around break. But Eastside doesn't fall for it. Not sure if they even saw the look or just were not looking that way. But an unusual wrinkle and something to watch to see if it comes up again for Hale.
Cyrus Clapp catching that goal.
Eschewing the place the disc on the ground observer signal goal celebration.
So now 10-9. Does Eastside Prep have 2 more breaks in them? Time winding down. Opportunities getting few and far between. They've shown they've done it. They've done it twice, being able to get back-to-back breaks. They don't need to get back-to-back at this point, but here's your chance.
I do think Eastside's past the doubt phase. I mean, there's no reason to have any doubt right now about your ability to compete. At this point, it's about execution. Especially if you're a team like Eastside who thrives on it.
And I'd say especially in the second half, both these teams have cut out a majority of those execution errors that we saw at times in the first half. Kalmus. Waldorf resets to Kalmus. And streaking deep is Miller without a man on him. He'll be short of the end zone. They have some numbers and they are able to score Amar Lang, but Declan Miller, I believe it was Kalmus that threw it.
Tyler, the list of players at this tournament who you don't want to be wide open is probably really long. It maybe encompasses the entire tournament. But at the very top of that list is probably Declan Miller.
And Kalmus just saw his man wide open. All right, I'll send it. And I think that was a breakdown defensively in multiple spots because, again, it was a 3-on-2.
Have you ever seen those ads? I actually can't remember what brand they're for, but they're about things that are easy decisions. There's one where someone's picking Charles Barkley as the first player on their playground basketball team. That's an easy decision if you're Tucker Kalmus. Wide open Declan Miller with nobody in the area? I think I will.
So a relatively easy hold there for the Whales. And I know it's something we talked about in our recap of what teams can win the championship on the boys' side this weekend. Obviously, Nathan Hale Waldorf, the team at the top of the list. But yesterday, and even in this contest, we are really seeing the depth of this team. Yes, we're talking about Declan Miller. Yes, we're talking about Tucker Kalmus. But there are so many other guys that are huge players for this team that can step up in big moments and be able to be contributors when the team needs them most.
I've been particularly impressed by Milo Freeman, who has an unspectacular role as kind of the possession-based handler.
That's my role.
But he's done a wonderful job.
You call me unspectacular there?
I would never.
Olsen once again runs it down, making it look easy at this point.
I don't know who to credit more. I mean, Clapp runs that down, and I don't even think I've seen him take a deep breath. He looks like he could run another 10 of those in a row. But what a put by Olsen. I mean, the defender is so close to trying to make a play on this, but the throw is just placed so that the offensive player doesn't run out of yardage, but the defensive player can't run out the play. Beautiful throw from Olsen.
Yeah. Olsen to Clapp connection. Working well. If we go back to the girls' semifinal, we saw it time and time again with the men.
Also putting in his 5th assist with that one. And even that undersells his impact on this game.
And that's me freehand doing it. He may have more. I know he has at least 5.
I mean, we got a nice run here. First it was Chloe Akimi impressing us as just a 15-year-old center handler for Roosevelt. And now you've got Axel Olsen, who's a little grizzled old vet at 16 compared to Akimi.
And with it, too, with these younger players, we're coming off of COVID. We're coming off of 2 years of not having a full season, a normal season. Even this season, by some extent, wasn't normal.
That's a great point. I mean, these are players who it's questionable what their development opportunities looked like for the past year or 2. So how are they this good?
Olsen, he was, 7th grade? Last time there was a high school national invite?
Well, isolation play for Declan Miller to get things started. I'm surprised we haven't seen them go to that more frequently.
Good recovery by Eastside Prep. Things broke down a tad. Knocked away. Eastside Prep, they need this one here.
I think that's the first one of those types of blocks we've seen in the second half, but Eastside Prep has had quite a whole handful of them. Those run-through blocks from downfield, coming off of another player to break into the lane. They are sizing up these looks from the Whales.
Daniel Kuroff, Tomalov. Finally get in the hands of Olsen. Oh, what a find. Toes the line, he is in. That may have been one of the more impressive vision throws by Axel Olsen today. Once again, going to Clapp.
He's getting better. The kid's literally improving in this game. And that was the most celebration we've seen from Clap yet.
Yeah, he got tired. He got tired of the observer's signal. He wanted to show some emotion. Just look at the vision setting up. There's someone cutting in the front, and then he has the wherewithal to place it over the top. Only spot that his guy can get it. Back corner. That's next level stuff.
I mean, I wouldn't go so far as to call Eastside emotionless, but I will certainly say that they're pretty relaxed. They're demure.
Even tempered.
Especially compared to the way that we've seen so many teams be emotional and celebrational and, kind of engage in the ups and downs that come with play. This Eastside team really keeps it centered. They keep their cool.
They have to keep their cool for the next 15 to 20 minutes or so, as it is an 11-11 game. 10 minutes left until soft cap.
I'm not sure if the Whales have played in a lot of games like this. This is perhaps uncharted waters.
They went undefeated this year. They had a very, very solid season.
Back to the zone. It's the second time I think I've seen that 2-yard scooper that's completely open.
Scary situation, but Ocean Hines just cocks it back, sends it deep. Oh, what a play. What a grab by Dexter Schaefer-White.
That's two tall guys going up for the disc, and Schaefer-White used every advantage that he had. The fact of the matter is Schaefer-White's running onto this disc, and his defender is backing up. And it's just going to be much easier to line up and elevate to high point the disc when you're coming on from that forward position. Excellent grab by Schaefer-White.
I even think the defender, he expected there to be some contact on his back. I think he was anticipating it, and it got him off balance on the jump.
And you mentioned Hines. I mean, Hines took a second and said, "Everybody okay?" All right, I'm sending it. And he sent that one express, overnight delivery.
More efficient than FedEx on that play.
I think this is a Wales timeout as they're looking to put this one away. And maybe you let Eastside stew on that. You just put a player on a poster. You feel like you made one of the big momentum seizing plays. Let them think about it for a little bit.
Over our shoulder, Lone Peak 1 point away from advancing to the championship, where they'll face the winner of this contest. Very solid performance by them going against Lincoln. They've been in firm control from opening pool. But Hale and Eastside Prep, we've been treated to two great games. If you haven't seen it yet, go back and watch the first girls semifinal in between games, because that one was outstanding. There's a point where you can skip 45 minutes, but nevertheless, back and forth. Didn't have the swings that we saw in this one. I believe Roosevelt got ahead by 2 at one point, and that's the largest they ever got ahead, and the only time that Lincoln was able to get ahead by 2 was the final score.
And we'll see that Lincoln team taking on South Eugene in the girls division final. In our next live stream, I see South Eugene warming up in the background. They have been unchallenged throughout this event. Can Lincoln get the upset? Let's stay tuned to find out on this one. Eastside Prep trying to write their own upset story here against Hale in the boys semifinal round.
Final's going to be under the lights here in Richmond. (12-11) Seattle Whales on top of Eastside Prep. Crowd starting to file in again as more teams' national tournament hopes have come to an end.
Wales coming out in that junk look of their own, and it gets a turnover, just not aware of the defender's presence.
Point block right on the mark. 15 yards are all the Whales need to go up by 2. Miller in the ISO, back playing handler. Kalmus shut down, they go for the reset. Ocean Hines, inside throw, blocked and knocked away.
Sion Rao has to have 5 blocks in this game.
What a read. He was able to go to that next gear and just turn it on, baited that throw. Again, this is an O point for Eastside Prep. Sion Rao resets. Olsen back to Rao, off his chest. Cleaned up by Hasenberg. As timeout here called by Kalmus.
Rao with the great block and then the mistake on the other end.
We've seen it a couple times. He turned to look downfield before he fully had control of the disc.
And this is great field position for the Whales. And they have a thing that we haven't seen anybody stop, which is just ISO Declan to initiate our offense. You know, and if Hale, if Wales go to that, and Eastside has to dedicate additional resources on top of the one defender to deal with it, I think the Wales will be comfortable with that.
Point block on the mark. And then missing on the camera angle, but I promise that was an outstanding block and just went right through the hands of Rao.
Yeah, I obviously don't love the execution error on the part of Rao, but I love that he immediately started to play defense. Sometimes you see players, they throw their hands up, they look at their hands, they get down on themselves, they lower their head. I don't even know if the turnover had finished before he was like, all right, I'm ready to get it back. And I love to see that from a player, especially one who seems to be defensively minded like Rao.
So look at this, a very deep stack for Nathan Hale Waldorf.
I mean, this could very easily be ISO Miller.
Yep.
You know, let's initiate this way and flow from that. Well, we'll see what they have dialed up. We've talked about this is a team with no shortage of threats. It is not. It's by no means been the Declan Miller show.
And Liam Ryan is the matchup on him. He has been very solid today in that matchup. A couple guys trading off, covering Declan Miller. All handler movement right now. Kalmus had a chance to play it over the top. Ooh, threads one through. Zach Sato Hasenberg, the senior, punching it in. Break for the Whales.
And Belfiore came out on the poach. Didn't get the poach block. I mean, it was the right read, but he just wasn't quite ready to make the play. And then in recovery, picks up just too late. You know, he was in the right spot to see that play developing. Zach Sato Hasenberg going towards that cone, but finds it just a little too late, so he couldn't accelerate in time to break up the play. Difficult situation. This is a difficult situation for Belfiore to be in. Not a lot of players are going to make that play, but under those circumstances, you want Belfiore to try and make it happen. I mean, he is one of the star players on this team, and the fact is they need a play. They need someone to step up and make a play at this juncture.
Wales moments away from celebrating. We're getting close to cap as it is a steep cliff to climb here for Eastside Prep. Down by 2, getting close to soft cap.
But this is where you reference those moments in your season that you can play back to. And guess what? They have a reference point of 8 points ago. You remember when we were down 7-4? It looked like our graves were right there, and they were just going to start putting the dirt on us. Well, we climbed out of that hole. We can do that again. That team, we are that team.
Ocean Hines with the pull. I think he short-armed that one a little bit there. He only made it to the front of the end zone. You take that hammer. You're the Whales. Olsen in the middle.
Now Hale looking to spring the trap now that the disc is on the sideline out of the hands of the primary handlers.
Good find over the top. Blading it down. You can hear the soft cap horn in the background, but on this point, Eastside Prep trying to get it in.
And again, Eastside goes to the sideline and is nearly stopped there, but
oh, that's a tough throw.
Foul call.
Foul called on it. Got to look at it a little bit more I.O. bend. But it is an is that uncontested?
Uncontested
you
foul.
Want to reset to where you were at the time of the
Friedman.
throw. Time of the throw. Coming in saying
Gotta love the spirit there. That's one of the toughest things when you get into a high stall and you foul him. That's so frustrating as a mark. To be able to compose yourself and be like, yeah, I hit you.
They are
the question is Eastside going to have the composure to get out of this situation?
Olsen, back corner again. I believe that is Liam Ryan. Game to 14 now.
Does anything shake this Axel Olsen kid? Does anything shake him? Look at this. Just high stall, game on the line, and he just tosses in a blade past a Junior Worlds defender.
By my count, it's number 7.
Anytime you can throw more assists than the number on your jersey, you're doing pretty well.
Okay. I'm just going to pick 0.
Hey, you throw an assist, you're still doing, you must have done something right.
7 assists, though. Not to downplay what Axel Olsen has done and commanded in this offense.
When's the last time he took a point off?
I don't know if he has. And I would love to see if someone's running LT analytics for this, just to see the touches that he's had. Because for the most part, it's been almost every other for him and very few turnovers.
And again, staunch handler defense.
So Hale up 13-12. Again, cap is at 14. They will have 2 chances on offense to score at minimum to end this game. Eastside Prep will need 2 breaks in a row to what many would say would be stealing this win away from the tournament favorites.
I mean, at this point, yeah, I think you can't call it anything else. I mean, to take this game from this position where you are a big underdog, I mean, that would certainly be stealing a win from the jaws of defeat.
They've been in this spot in this game, as you said, down 7-4, allowed 4 breaks to go off in a row. Very few teams in Ultimate can come back from that, especially in a capped game a non-timed game. And they reeled off back-to-back breaks, able to get another one in the second half.
Now during that run, Hale started to make some errors. They had some real throwaways that if you're Eastside, you'd love to see, but you certainly can't count on. I think that you probably are going to see this Eastside team continue to be aggressive, poaching off to try and get in front of some of the mid-range away passes that this Hale offense has thrived on.
Olsen with the pull. Miller will catch. Wales in their own end zone. Upline streak by Miller. Gets Ocean Hines. Fake inside, finds his brother, Cedar. Moves the mark well, Ocean. Now a couple steps away as there is a call behind the play. Gavin Leahy thought he had caught the game-winning goal.
You call the foul? I'm contesting that. Okay. You can. I see that.
Sir. We're going to pick call.
The catch.
Down here.
So there was a pick called at some point.
I was with him.
Down here.
In front of me.
All right. I'll be honest with you. I was looking in that direction. I can't resolve anything that happened here.
Fine. I guess you can contest. Fine.
All right. We gotta. Do you and you got a sense of when yours occurred? Like
I'm running down the field as the throw was happening. I think.
Do you think it was while the thrower was in the act of throwing or before?
I didn't think.
So a pick and a foul.
No, you kept going after the throw. No, you just said. Hey, let me can I explain the situation. I was ahead of him and he's grabbing me back, so all the way back there when I called the foul.
All right, but so you're saying it was before the thrower threw it?
Probably.
Okay.
I just cannot believe you're not going to contest that foul. You are so annoying.
All right, let's. All right.
Look back.
Let me find out what's happened over here so we can figure out exactly.
So first of all, there's two things happening here. I see the pick. Axel Olsen a little bit behind Gavin Lee. He was within 10 feet, probably. The foul that happened behind the play as the throw was being put up. You kind of see it there at the end. Declan Miller saying they both just kind of stopped, which is probably when the foul was called. But they bring it back. Is this game point here for the Whales? And they punch it in. Nathan Hale, Waldorf, is going to the high school national championship game.
And for the most part, it was the flowing offense that we'd seen when Hale was playing their best that carried them through that final point. You know, a little contentious, obviously. But a strong effort from both of these sides. I think Eastside really proving people that they were a contender this weekend, that they're one of the best teams in the country.
A great game. A ton of great individual performances on both sides. Axel Olsen, what a coming out party. 7 assists.
Yeah, throwers were doing work, but the receivers with some pretty impressive catches, like that one from Cyrus Clapp.
But the story is the Whales, they gave few opportunities for Eastside Prep to take advantage, and the opportunities that Eastside Prep gave to the Whales, they were able to take advantage more times than they didn't. What a great sky by Dexter Schaefer-White. Perhaps a momentum-changing play here late in the second half. And then the game-winning score for the Whales. Nathan Hale, Waldorf, they're going to the championship game. For Keith Rayner, I'm Tyler Byram. We'll see you next. Girls Final coming up on Ulti World.